and it still makes me kind of pinch myself wondering like how it's 2 years has gone by so fast. And I've been like weirdly emotional all day, just the fact that I'm on Brigitte Linford's team call. And I have to tell you, like, you have the most amazing leader. And Brigitte and Scotty were two of the first, when I first started, you know, I was told success leaves clues and to go find people that resonate with you in this business. And I have a great team, but it's about finding the people, you know, that I joined when I started, but it was about finding the people that really like my heart connected with. And I think right around when I started Brigitte, you were on a national wake-up call, and you moved me. Your story moved me, and it was like, okay, this is what it means when someone says, like, find the people that you relate to. You want to find the people that you feel like you would trust, even if you never met them in person. And I've been lucky to get to meet you in person, but I've so admired and looked up to you and the presence and the way you lead your team, and I've honestly tried to emulate that in my own way so many times. Just the heart and so much passion that you give to your people. And so just the fact that I am speaking to you, like I feel very humble and grateful for the opportunity. But I learned so much from you and Scotty, just how to be generous. You know, you've taught me that all along the way, like how to be generous with what you have. And the whole company, it's pretty cool that we work for a company that tells us to share all of our secrets, and that it's encouraged, and that we're, you know, like, and it gives us, you know, it helps everyone, and it helps us by sharing our secrets. I think that it deconstructs that competitiveness, because there's really, if our heart and our foundation to our business is founded in the desire to help people, then it's not I want to get to the people first. It's how many people collectively can we help. So thank you for having me. I'm one of those people I could talk on certain topics for like ever. So I want to invite you to, if you ever want to pause me or have questions, you won't throw me off. So I might wait, I was a school counselor for a long time. So we call it the teacher pause, where it might feel a little awkward if you're kind of like, there's like empty air, but studies show that people will like wait 30 seconds to raise their hand. And so I call it the teacher pause, to really give you the opportunity to get the courage to unmute yourself and say something if I ask a question. So I started coaching, like Brigitte said, in September of 2013. And at the time I was a full-time school counselor. I was a school counselor for over a decade. So for about 12 years, I was in public education, and I loved it. I was really lucky to find a job that let me live my passion of helping people and working with kids. And I did that at different schools. I did it in Honduras and traveled with it and worked at all different levels. But if anyone, raise your hand. I'm looking at all your faces. Raise your hand if you're an educator or have a family member as an educator. Okay, so if you've ever heard, public education doesn't pay a lot of money. And is also, school counselors happen to be the first thing to go on the chopping block when it comes to budget cuts and things. So every year I was left kind of worried when contract negotiations happen, like, is this the year that my position across the district was going to get cut? And always trying to figure out, what's my plan B going to be? And as the years went by, my savings didn't grow. And in fact, my salary went down 3 years in a row. And I thought that seemed backwards. Like, in what career is your salary supposed to decrease rather than increase the longer you're in it? But because of furlough days and budget cuts and insurance hikes, all that stuff, my salary went down, and yet I never had that job security. So I didn't know what my plan B was going to be. I waited tables from the age of from 17 on as an extra job to help make ends meet, or just to be able to travel in the summers, things like that. And that fun job, or the thing that kept me from being a total hermit, was quickly becoming something I relied upon. So, but it's also what kept me exhausted and tired. And so after working 60, 70 hours at school all week, then I'd wait tables on the weekends until 3 a.m. or at night on the weeknights until midnight. And after the last few years of that, I was tapped. I was sick all the time. I was tired. I couldn't even have the energy to date. I was, didn't have kids or wasn't married, but I just was doing the best I could, and I was super fried and just kind of waiting for that my ship to come in, and I buy the lottery ticket thinking like, maybe God's plan for me is that I'll win the lottery, and that's how I will get myself out of this and something different will change. And so I realized that that's kind of a poor thing to base all your hopes off of, because I don't know anybody who's ever won the lottery, but it's a nice thought. And I kind of had that a meltdown right before school started that year, and I was getting all my school stuff out of my closet and just started crying. The anxiety and the weight of all of that schedule and that routine kind of overwhelmed me, and I just was like, I can't do this anymore. And I cried, and I just threw my hands up to God and prayed for something different, a different path, something that would help me see what I was supposed to be doing. And so shortly after, my coach was posting about this new job in her Facebook newsfeed and this business she had just started this summer, and we had waited tables together. Did the breakfast shift for a year, and she wasn't particularly fitnessy, but I always really liked her and thought she was great. And so I was definitely intrigued, because I had gotten my yoga certification but had no time to do anything with it. I'd done my spin start years before just because I was kind of a fitness geek and wanted to, but still, again, it didn't there was no time to do stuff like that, because I was trying just to figure out, make ends meet. So I decided that I needed, that sign that I had prayed for. And so I just jumped in. I'd never done a challenge group. I told my coach, who's Stephanie Davies. She's a crazy, awesome coach in the business. I don't know if you follow her, but she's from Portland too. I told Steph, I don't want to do shakes. I like whole food. I don't even really like working out at home. I really like the yoga studio. I was that person. And I kind of threw out all the objections, and she listened, and we talked, and she's like, well, really, if you want to do this, this is what you got to do. So I really just knew I needed something different, so I did it. And I jumped right in, and I didn't have instant success. I struggled. I didn't hit Success Club at first, the first couple months. I fought really hard to get Emerald Coach. I didn't even know, what I should be doing. I just posted every day and studied and soaked up all the trainings I could and failed forward one day at a time. One thing about me is that I don't have what I call a quit bone. And so I knew I wasn't giving up, and I definitely had that why not me. I looked around, I'm like, okay, if they can do it, why can't I do it? I know I'm smart, I'm a nice person, I'm a hard worker, and that's really all it takes. I really care about making a difference in people's lives, so I know I can figure this out. Even though I was definitely discouraged and frustrated, and many times I feel stuck. And it wasn't until my first Super Saturday where and Amy Silverman was living in Portland at the time, and she came and was leading the Super Saturday, and I just remember having this oh, she's so different than, all these other, anyone on my team and my uplines, and just had a similar story. She'd waited tables, was a yogi, and all these kind of things. I was like, okay, well, maybe there's room for me in this. And she just embraces her essence, her kind of say it how it is-ness, her hot mess-ness, and all of that. I really was like, I can appreciate that. And if she can do it how she does it, then I'll just figure out. And at that point, I let myself just be me, and I let go of all kind of the confines I'd put myself, I thought I had to fit into a certain box. And so I kind of put away the box, and I just focused on having fun with this. And that's what I want to talk to you a little bit about. And going back to just the fact that I'm a social person. While I am shy, I'm not shy, but I could stay at home and be a hermit and not leave my house, and I would probably be okay. This in this business doesn't always help get me out of the house, because it's so easy to connect with people on social media. But it gave me a reminder that it's okay to tap into the friendships and the people I've met my whole life and go from there, and not make assumptions based off of how I thought I was supposed to be versus who I thought would want to work with me. And I was nervous about talking to friends and family, and I was paralyzed by the thought of inviting. And so I just focused on social media. And I want to talk a little bit, and I did make some slides. Brigitte said she usually makes slides for y'all, and I don't want to, so I will share those. But I'm going to talk a little bit tonight about, or today, it's daytime, the difference between using your warm market and your cold market, and then using social media versus in person in terms of finding people. So I'm going to go ahead and share this screen. And while I'm doing that, I'll finish my story in a nutshell. About 9 months into coaching, I had matched my school counseling salary, and decided to go all in. I was loving this business. I loved the opportunity, the potential, and I decided to retire from school counseling. I moved to San Diego at the time, right afterwards, because it's something I said I'd always wanted to do. And like I said, I'm not married. I don't have kids yet, and so why not? And there I met my, he just walked in. You can't see him, but the love of my life, Jamie. And so Jamie Squared, we have the same name. And then shortly after, he got a dream job opportunity in Tampa, Florida. So that's where I'm sitting here now, is in our house on the water in Tampa, Florida. We have 2 puppy dogs, and life continues to just get better and better. And this business has been able to travel with me all over, from Portland to San Diego to here in Florida. I've gone to Italy, Cancun, Vegas, all around the country. And all you need is your cell phone and a Wi-Fi, even though you should work from your computer because it's much more efficient. But really, you can go anywhere. So, but how do you do this? Like, how do you continue to keep growing and building momentum as time goes on? And I don't know what phase of you are in your business, but even if you're brand new, versus 5 years down the road, there's just so many people out there that are going to be excited to work with you and need your time and attention. And so, and by building friendships with these folks, because I really think it boils down to being a friend and creating friendships and making friendships, you will get to help them and find some way to help them, whether it's with their nutrition, fitness, weight loss. Maybe they just need a friend. Maybe they just need a positive presence in their newsfeed to remind them to be thankful. Or maybe they're needing you to show them that there's a way out of whatever their situation is with their job or their life to help be financially fit too. So I'm going to make some assumptions, or rather some agreements, so I can skip over some of this stuff and just go digging right into how to find people and make a network. So some of the agreements or assumptions I'm going to make is that you're here because you like people. Like, you genuinely like other people. I'm guessing you wouldn't have joined Team Beachbody if you didn't like people. I'm going to agree or assume that a lot of this is really new to you, that the social media marketing is new to you, or networking may be new to you, or even inviting to do challenge groups might be new to you. Maybe not as new as others. But for me, I didn't know anything about Facebook other than that it was a really great tool to go find old friends and upload photos. I didn't know anything about social media marketing. I'd never had a sales job or a marketing job to save my life. So this was all really new. The coolest thing is that it's all learnable. It's all teachable. And then my assumption number 3 is that your foundation is non-negotiable. With an upline like Brigitte, I know you know the 3 vital behaviors. You know the importance of Success Club and how important that is just to be doing every day no matter what. If you can't, you can network and make as many new connections as you want, but if you're not doing the 3 vital behaviors and hitting Success Club, then the mindset and the drive to match these new friendships with business growth isn't going to be there. So we really need to be paying attention to being proof the products work and sharing that on social media, and having that goal of Success Club as a non-negotiable for yourself every month, because it gives you that drive and that focus so that you know what these connections, so you're funneling these new friendships and new connections towards business growth. So I guess another agreement I would add on to that didn't was that you're wanting to grow your business. Another one is that you want to help people get healthy and fit, whether that's financially fit or physically fit. So making an assumption there, which again would translate to that you're wanting to grow your business. And that you're also committed to figuring this out. This is going to take time and effort, whether you have an hour a day or 5 hours a day. There's no wrong answer to that as long as you're willing to be consistent, and just know that in a year, it'll grow. It'll grow fast or slow depending on how much time you give it and how consistent you are. But I'm going to assume that you're here and on this call because you are committed to making this work and finding a way. I can guarantee that you'll find success if you are consistent in doing those 3 vital behaviors and hitting Success Club and moving forward and learning. So any questions about those agreements or assumptions? Were those fair to make? You can just nod your head if you want. Okay. So I want to talk first about your warm market. So there's a warm market and a cold market, and we all have a warm market. A warm market are the people that you knew coming into this business. And whether it was friends, former colleagues, neighbors, family members, your kids' friends, any connection you had in some way prior to becoming an online team Beachbody coach. That was your warm market. Now, I made a lot of assumptions, like I said, and judgments of people who would want to be in my warm market, who would want to hear from me, and that held me back. Another leader on the team said once, like, don't hold other people's future captive in your mouth. And I did that. I did that so often because I would assume, like, oh, that person wouldn't want to do a challenge group because I didn't want to initially, or maybe that person would not want to hear from me because I don't even know if they really like me. But then that's just your own mindset, and my own self-confidence is what helped me back there. So your warm market should be your everyone that you know. What I have my team do, and it's in, I think, the Coach Basics training even, is like make your list of 100 names. And I really put off doing this for a long time, and I wish I hadn't, but I make a list of 100 names. And these aren't people that you necessarily think would want to join your team or even join a challenge group. Just get those names out of your head. And you can use the memory jogger. It's a great tool Beachbody gives us. It's in your Coach Online office, but it gives different prompts for who you might know. And then you can start thinking big picture of like, wow, I do know a lot of people. I was lucky that I maybe lucky, but I have a hard time sitting still. I like moving. I grew up in the Marine Corps, so we moved my whole life. So that's easier for me than staying put. So I had a lot of different chapters of my life I can pull from. But even if you've lived in your and so that means like people that I knew only for a couple years when I was really little, those people I've been able to reconnect with and pull back into my warm market. But even if you're living in the same town you've always lived in, you have a bigger warm market, and let everyone that you maybe do carpool with or go to church with or have played sports with, like use the memory jogger to really start thinking about all the people that you may know. Maybe your spouse or your mom's friends or family, friends of friends. Those all can be in your warm market as well if you already know them. And then from there, what do you do with your warm market? So if you're just starting out, like spend your time, energy, just really reconnecting with people that maybe you haven't talked to for a long time. And now I know I had a lot of Facebook friends that I hadn't actually said hi to since we'd ever become Facebook friends or just hadn't talked to in years. And so it's a great opportunity when you're digging into your warm market just to say hi. I call them hey girls, like send a note like, hey girl, it's been a long time. And it's so nice, I'd love to, it's been a long time. How are you doing? Even if something as simple as how are you doing. But what I like to do is go to their Facebook page and see what they've been doing. Have they gone on a vacation recently? Do they have kids? Are they working? What are they sharing about? Are they talking about, what are they talking about on their social media? And then make a personal connection with them in a private message with a hey girl. You can ask a question like, hey, it looks like you guys just went on vacation in Hawaii. I'm thinking about a Hawaii trip. Would you recommend where you stayed? You can ask the question. Even if you're not necessarily planning a trip to Hawaii, maybe you are at some point, or maybe you can make a connection on an old memory. Like, do you remember that time? I was thinking about that time when my mom was coaching our soccer team and this happened. You can make the personal connection that makes it clear that you're truly thinking about them and you want to reconnect with them. I love utilizing the voice text feature because then they hear your voice and it feels a little bit more personal. I can hear the emotion or the excitement. And this isn't even messages about your business. It's just truly reconnecting with people. And then go on their page and engage. Comment on their pictures. Maybe they're talking about about recipes or meals, or they're having a question about pediatricians in their area. Like, go that extra step and help them find the answer to a question maybe they've posted about. Or they're sharing something funny. Maybe you give them something funny back, like, oh, that made me laugh, here's something else, and give a link or send it to a private message. But just start building that friendship on their public account. And this also helps build affinity, which is a Facebook term for connectivity. So Facebook and all its algorithms of software will identify people you are talking to on their social media or vice versa, or private messaging with, and they will elevate those posts of one another because they'll deem you as friends. So build the affinity of that person, and then it'll push your post into their newsfeed and vice versa, because it'll assume based off of your interaction that you guys are friends. And so the more you can engage with those people, then you make sure your posts about your challenge group or your clean eating, that kind of stuff is getting into your newsfeed. And a lot of times, if you're really focusing on quality content on your social media, you don't have to bring up what you're doing because they're going to see it because you guys are chatting about Christmas. And then if you've got a lot of our warm market are local to us, and I'm going to dig in a little later about like talking in person, spending time in the flesh with people. But maybe set up a time to hang out. Maybe you invite them over to work out and try your new 21-day fix routine, or come over and try Shakeology, or maybe plan a play date with your friends, with your kiddos. Go to the park, just go have coffee. Set up a volunteering opportunity and invite some friends to do that. So that's your warm market. In about 2.5 years, I'm getting close to 2.5 years, I still have a big warm market because, even if you have 200 friends, you can continue to build those relationships and rekindle. And a lot of people 2 years ago who I reconnected with were, they have in different seasons of life and weren't maybe super ready to engage or build a friendship, or maybe just needed a little bit of time to work through whatever they are working through. So I still have people that I grew up with that were friends long before Beachbody that continue to reach out about challenge groups and programs and coaching, just because I've stayed consistent and continue to keep that door open for them as a friend with no strings attached. So I know I can dig more into warm market, but I wanted to just start there because I wanted to focus on really finding new people. But are there any questions on warm markets? Okay, that was a teacher. Oh, did I hear someone get unmuted?
Well, I just unmuted myself. I don't even know. I think I made the settings so people can't unmute themselves just so we didn't get the entry chimes. But everyone does have a chat option. So go ahead and send the questions on there just so if anyone has. So just wanted to let everyone know.
Oh, perfect.
You're trying to unmute yourself that you can write down questions on chat.
Okay. So if someone chats, will you just let me read it for me?
Yep, I will.
Okay, perfect. Well, then I'm going to move on to cold market. And a cold market, in my mind, is just people that are waiting for your friendship. You just haven't found them yet. So I'm going to dig a little bit into cold market on different social media platforms. So I'm guessing you're all focusing on building on Facebook because chances are you had a Facebook and that was where you connected with most people prior to Beachbody. And then I usually suggest figure out Facebook, figure it out well, master it. Don't be afraid to try to unlearn Facebook, learn a social media platform, and then add a secondary one and really focus on growing two, and have one be your primary where you kind of figured it out, and then add a second one. So for me, it was Facebook for a really long time, and I really wanted to figure out Instagram, but it took a lot of time and energy. So you don't want to pull away from your business by only building something you know nothing about or starting something from scratch. But if you can balance two, take Facebook and then add something else. I just kind of pulled Instagram and Pinterest as the other ones I wanted to talk about a little bit, just because those are the two that are relevant to me. But there's also Twitter and YouTube are common ones. I have heard from people growing on Periscope, which is a live video chat. There's Snapchat, Vine, which is another video. There's so many, even Google+, so many social media platforms that you can choose from. But on Facebook, if you're trying to find new people, there's a couple of different things. You can just go through that memory jogger, go to your memory jogger and be like, oh, I haven't thought of this person, and just search that person on Facebook and see if you can find them. You can go to, a lot of times in your news feed, you'll see a suggested friends little window pop up on the side. Pay attention to that. And you want to, even while you're using your warm market, you want to be continuing to grow your friends list throughout that and constantly adding people. So you might see in a power hour list, add 3 people a day. And so that would be something from day one to start doing, so that when you have worked through a lot of your warm market, you've got other people that you've been adding along the way that you're kind of warming up just by being connected with them. So you can go to your suggested friends. And what I did a lot was go to the people you may know suggestion on Facebook. So I wanted to show you. So here's my mama. Okay. And if you go to friends, because sometimes people don't know where this is. You go to friends, you've got friends. You can see mutual friends. This is my family and people that I've connected with through my mom based off of this. But if you click on the people you may know, okay, it'll tell you who Facebook thinks you might know based off of the number of mutual friends. So I've already done this a lot with my mom. So a lot of these folks I truly don't know. But I might look through here and go, okay, so 2 mutual friends. And you can hover over this and see like, all right, so that's my mom and someone else. And my mom and friends from high school. So like for me, I found a lot of my mom's like family members I hadn't found on Facebook yet. Some of her friends I grew up with, people through our church, parents of friends that she coached. You know, she was our soccer coach, things like that. And then you can go to their page and kind of check them out. So, and then I have my newsfeed blocked to get an extension from Chrome. Use the Chrome browser so that this doesn't get distracted. But that also over here on that sidebar, it'll often give you suggested friends. You can also search for, and then up here is where you would search for specific people. Now, you can also find, I'm going to go back to this, go find hobby groups on Facebook, okay? And so, let's see, I live on the water here in Bel Air Beach near Tampa, Florida. And I keep seeing,
I'm sorry, can I interrupt you?
Yeah.
We just got a question that says, when you add people from that section of people you might know, do you message them right away? And if so, what do you say?
That's a great question. I used to not, and then I realized I missed this great opportunity for years. And I would message them and just say, after they, sent them a friend request, they accepted, I would just send them a note. And actually, I somewhere in my files, I have one I can copy and paste to bring it later. But I usually will just say something like, hey, it's so nice to connect. I just saw we had, so many mutual friends, or maybe it was someone I did know I didn't know I knew, or had not friended yet. I might just say, hey, it's been a long time. I saw you pop up as my suggested friends and figured, more friends the better. I wanted to reconnect and say hi. How are you doing? And then at that point, I'd go and maybe pull something off of their social media. And usually I'll just own it that, I'm like, oh, Facebook stalked you really fast and your kids are so cute. I can't believe how much time. And I can't believe you got 2 little ones in elementary school. Like, it's been way too long. And then from there, I might engage a conversation. Or if it's truly someone I don't know, then I'll just say, like, I know we don't, you look like someone I would totally be friends with. And I just couldn't resist the, saying hi and having a new connection. And just leave it at that. You don't have to like make up a reason other than the fact that you want to make a new friend. And most people, as long as your profile is engaging and friendly, they're happy, they're happy to. Now I will say that, and that there is such a thing as we call it Facebook jail. So if you've added a bunch of people and they're not accepting your friend requests, okay, you can actually get blocked from that ability. I don't say that to add new people. And I don't say that to scare you, but just track the people that you're adding friends. So if you're adding new friends, keep a notebook or an Excel doc if you're not a paper and pencil person, and track who you're adding so that later you can go back to that person, those people, and after a couple of days, if they haven't accepted your friend request, just cancel that request, because I think if you have too many piled up of pendings, then Facebook will like flag your account and they can block you. And that happened to me early on. If you have forgotten who you've added, you can go to this activity log, okay, and then go to the side here and just click friends. And it'll tell you who you became friends. So here it says like, I sent a request to Shirley, Robin, and Lou today, okay, and if you hover, it tells me Lou accepted mine, Robin didn't. So in a couple of days, I might go back and see like, okay, it's been like a week and 33 days and Robin hasn't accepted my friend request. She might have just not seen it, or rather than me like forgetting, I'll just cancel that request, okay? And then you keep it clear that way. So that's sorry for the little detour, but I think that's important to note because you don't want to lose your ability to add people on Facebook.
Such good information. I'm glad that you're showing everyone too. And then we have one more question. And I believe that you said it was just an app on Chrome. Yeah. But you said, how do you block the news feed? So it's just if you Google it, you'll find the answer, right?
Yep. Google on Chrome, Google Facebook newsfeed blocker extension, some version of that, and then there's a couple options that'll pop up.
Awesome. Okay, keep on going. This is golden.
Okay. So hobby groups, and this is something that my team uses a lot, and I don't as much, but it's a really powerful tool to expand your network. So looking up hobby groups. So like when I was living in San Diego, I needed to make friends. I didn't know anybody in San Diego, and so actually I did look up like runners of Carlsbad, you know. So if you look up, so if I'm looking up here, and I wanted to find, I'm looking at a sailboat right now. So if I wanted to find sailing Clearwater, okay, and just search that, and that's right near Clearwater, and I can look up people that have likes pages, and I can even look up and see if there's groups, and you can click on that, and then I can look for groups, and look, there's one public Clearwater Community Sailing Center group, okay, and that's a theme group. So I can look on that. I can request to join. It looks like there's only one member, so I probably shouldn't join that group. So maybe a poor example. But I know in San Diego I'm a yogi, and so I looked up San Diego. Actually, if I look up Clearwater Yoga, or St. Petersburg is better. Berg Yoga. Okay, because I'm near there. Got pages. Those are the likes pages. But if I click here and go to groups, look, I've got 1, 2, 3. St. Petersburg or Florida yoga groups that I could, well, that one is probably Russia, but I could look up a couple of yoga groups and potentially make some new friends and check it out. Now, all military bases have like local groups for each base, and different clubs, different squads. There's different activities, and themes. And so almost anything you might be interested in, any hobbies you have, whether it's crafting, knitting, sailing, team sports, CrossFit, yoga, moms of twins, you know, in vitro moms, like there's so many groups on Facebook that you can find. And I would say find a couple, figure out what you like the most, like the people you'd have the most in common with, because that's going to be your tribe anyway. And then go in and join the group, and then authentically build friendships there and add value. Now, that's not a place, these groups are not a place to go and promote your next free cleaning group or your next challenge group or to talk about your business. This is a place to build friendships. And you can friend those people, and then they would see your content on your page, and then add value. So if it's, I know one of my coaches is in a bunch of toddler mom groups, because her little boy is 3. So she might add local resources for pediatricians or stuff she's found to help her toddler with, right now they're dealing with bedtime, going to bed, having monsters under the bed kind of stuff. And so she's researching and adding value to those groups and building friendships. I know she's pulled a lot of her team from, initially was an in vitro group. So a lot of her team has also went through in vitro, and she connected through these Facebook groups. So I would just say find the groups that are going to be most relevant to what you're interested in above and beyond fitness and health. Because a lot of the fitness, health, weight loss themed groups are going to be chock full of other Beachbody coaches, the wraps and the pills and everything. So just focus on the other things that make you before you ever became a Beachbody coach, or maybe things that you're now able to explore more of, like old hobbies or interests or things on your bucket list that maybe you have the freedom to do now that you are coaching. So I won't go more into that, but that's one tip. And then run free groups. I don't know if you guys talk about this much. I know it's talked about on the wake up call some, but I run free groups every month, and like theme ones, whether it's, started with clean eating, and I got kind of bored of those after a while. So then we started like a water challenge, a sugar detox challenge. You can do financially like learning how to save money and financially fit groups. I've done yoga challenges. So run free groups. You can make an event for them, like an actual event, and invite people and encourage your friends to invite their friends, or have them share your clean eating invite on their personal page, or tag them in the picture if they're going to join your clean eating challenge. Tag them in the picture, then the picture goes on their page as well, and then it'll give them their Facebook friends the opportunity to comment "I'm in" as well. But running free groups is a great way to keep pulling people in and adding you as a friend. And ultimately, your goal with them would be to click friend request or accept your friendship, so that you can then they can see what you're doing on social media, you can see what they're doing, and you can talk with them privately and just continue to build a friendship, and give value to people, build trust with them by giving with no strings attached, really. And then I think from that, you build trust with folks that they're not just in it to sell them something, and that you truly care about them. So, and I'm going to buzz on. I'm looking at the time, and I don't want to talk too much on one specific thing. On Instagram, okay, so if anybody's on Instagram here, raise your hand if you're on Instagram. Yeah, so that was one that I was like so determined to, I'm a wordy person. My posts on Facebook are long. I like to tell stories. On Instagram, of course, it took me a while to get because I hadn't found my niche. I was kind of all over the place. So with Instagram, you want to make sure you're picking something that you're about. And maybe you're about, on Facebook, you're about 5, 6, 7 different things that you like to post about. On Instagram, you kind of have to narrow it down and give yourself, like, pick 1 or 2 of those pie pieces and just be about that on Instagram so that people are connecting with you. They know what they're going to get with you. So if it's paleo, then that's what you're talking about. If it's knitting or crafting, that's what you're talking about. If it's being a mom, that's what you're talking about. If it's being a yogi, for me, it's being a yogi. It's primarily what you'll see on my Instagram newsfeed. And it takes a give and take to break. Actually, Instagram's probably the easiest way to build your cold market and to make new connections, because it's just one follow away from finding new people based off of what you like. So you can look up, but you want to make sure you're going to people's pages. And I put give and take here because it's really about giving, like going and commenting and engaging and building those friendships, going and finding people. Okay, and what I do is I look for people that I could imagine myself hanging out with and being friends with. And one of the things we forget sometimes on social media is just how to be a nice person. Like if someone walked by us and said, "Oh, you look so nice today," or you know, "Have a great day," or they smile at you, you probably wouldn't just ignore them and keep walking. And on social media, it's easy to like ignore a comment like, "Oh, you know, thanks for the love," or "You look so nice," or "Great yoga pose," or whatever. And you want to reply back to that person and say thank you, or comment back, and then go to their page and interact. So there is a little bit more effort that's required on Instagram, but the community on Instagram is people are so apt to really connect and comment and have conversations under specific pictures. But you have to really be careful, make sure you're going and you're responding and replying to people's comments, and just like you would if it was in real life. And then hashtags. We can do a whole talk on hashtags. The hashtags are how I find people. And so find the ones that are going to connect you to your tribe. So I have 2 rescue dogs. They're Great Pyrenees mixes, and I know we showed a picture with them. And so I look up a lot of Great Pyrenees people, Great Pyrenees pictures on Instagram. I'm into yoga, so a lot of what I do on Instagram has to do with yoga. I actually run free yoga challenges because it's a yoga thing, on Instagram. So find the things that are relevant to your market and your passions and interests, and as a way to build your network. And those folks, I try to get them over to Facebook so they can see the rest of what I'm about, or email with them and build a friendship there if they're interested in. So it's kind of yoga and the freedom this business has given me. Those are the kind of 2 things that I share about on Instagram. The hashtags you can look up on YouTube if you don't know what a hashtag is, but look for ones that are really specific. Don't just look up fitness or motivation or, Shakeology. You're going to find other coaches. So look for things that are specific to you. I like using hashtags based off of where I live. Like I was hashtagging my picture Oceanside when I was living in North County, San Diego. And actually one of my coaches now was running a free boot camp I keep forgetting where I live, in Oceanside. And because she saw my picture under the Oceanside hashtag, she said, "Oh, hey, come to my boot camp." And I met a bunch of great ladies that way because I used a local hashtag. And so you can find people that are close to you if you're using, like, doing fun things. And if you're looking at those hashtags based off of geography, or what you like hashtag mom of twins, or hashtag crafting, or, and if you prompt, I wanted to show you on Instagram, I typed in earlier Clearwater, And so you can see it'll prompt you, and this is, you can do Instagram from your computer too, but it'll happen on your phone too. If you hit Clearwater, it'll give you all these other possibilities of looking in Clearwater Beach, Clearwater Bay, Clearwater, Florida, and you can go and look under these hashtags and find people. So if you're looking up like stand up paddleboard, something I've started, you can look up, find all these other people that are stand up paddleboarding and sharing their pictures on Instagram. Okay. So, and then Pinterest is one that I'm just starting to explore. You can find a lot of people. I mean, Pinterest is all about the hobbies that you like and making little collections of things that you're passionate about. So finding the boards of other people, find the boards and the pins that you like, and then figure out who that person is and follow them, build a friendship that way. You can interact, you can message, and a lot of those pins are linked to blogs. And so you can click on the blog post and subscribe to that blog and make some friendships that way. Your cold market is really up to you to build those relationships with. And you can let this be when you're even on social media or if you're in person, because a lot of what I do is in person. I like I said, I found a lot of Beachbody coaches match this personality type of being a hermit, a self-proclaimed, I'm a hermit, I like being home and I'm okay not ever leaving my house. And that's totally me, but I'm also an extrovert at the same time. And I know that for my own mental health, I need to go out and meet people. And so a lot of my team, I like growing a local team. I like having friends, and I look at what attracted me to this business to begin with was the community of it and being able to do it online. But I also like having friends to work out with and people to connect with and having my team local. So when you're in person, make sure you smile and you're approachable. So I just traveled to home to Oregon last week for my baby brother's wedding. And on the way home in the airport, I met 3 new friends. And it started because I was doing wear and tear. Now, wear and tear is anytime you're wearing a Beachbody attire. So I'm wearing my size shirt right here. I was wearing my backpack through the airport that had Beachbody on it, and that will just speak for itself. A lot of times if you're wearing something that says P90X or Insanity, people will stop you all over the place and say oh, I did P90X once or whatever, and at that point you say, oh, that's awesome, I'm a coach for P90X. Or if they see, workout, there's a lot of brand recognition with our products because they do such a great job with the infomercials and QVC. So wear and tear is a great way to get people talking. But you also have to be wearing a smile so that people feel like you're approachable, and look them in the eye and just say hi. And I know that's really scary for people a lot, is just to start conversations. But my flight was 5 hours delayed, and we were waiting in the ticket counter to figure out what was going to happen and how we were going to get home. And I just started chatting with the girl next to me in line, the woman next to me in line. And we're just chatting about where we're traveling to and, how it sucks to get delayed, blah, blah, blah. And she saw my Beachbody backpack and brought it up and said, hey, I saw this commercial for 21 Day Fix. Isn't that a Beachbody thing? And we just started talking. And then her husband was there, and he's like, I bet a lot of people just don't even stop and say hi and smile. And I think that you can underestimate how much you can grow your business just by engaging with people and being friendly. You can always connect what you're doing in person back to social media and breadcrumbing it. And what I mean by that is that when you go and do live stuff, maybe you have a fit club, you do a volunteering day, like doing Habitat for Humanity is one of my favorite volunteering organizations. So we do stuff live in person, but then I post about it on social media so the people that are following me on social media know that there's a human element to this too, because that's appealing to people. And then I get involved. So I like to volunteer, but you can also find clubs, activities, sports. I'm playing on a soccer team here in the Tampa area, actually with a few coaches, our Beachbody coach team. But it gets me involved and out in the community and meeting other teams, other people, organizing volunteering and inviting the local community, finding things that you're passionate about. Maybe you don't have a lot of time to do stuff. I would love for you to all do stuff that's just for you, because I think it's important to always be nurturing your hobbies and passions. But a lot of times we don't have the freedom to do that with our schedules. So maybe find opportunities to take stuff you're already doing and plug into something more social. So if you're a runner and you're already running, maybe find a running club. Stick your kids in a stroller or just take that hour you were going to run and go run with a group of people. There's running clubs everywhere. Same with if you're already crafting and knitting, like there's knitting circles, or if you're taking your kids to the park, like organize a play date. Or if you're going to work out at the, outside or do a workout, go to a stroller strides workout, or find a workout in the park with other moms. Just find a way to kind of push your own comfort zone to grow, but make more connections too. And then really make friends with those people on social media, bring it back to social media, and then they can see that there's all this other side to you too. And that you can talk about how this business gives you the freedom to go and connect with other people online and in person and make new friendships. But it does take kind of an intention to really challenge yourself to talk and get out of your comfort zone a little bit and in many levels. And it is hard. I know that it's hard. It was hard for me to kind of get through my own fear of being rejected or judgment. And I wanted to show, you could find, if you're looking for people, maybe when I'm new to the area, there's something called meetup.com. Okay, you can find groups. And there's groups for everything. There's even like Minecraft Club for kids. Isn't that a game? That's a computer game. There's running clubs, and if you're single, meetup.com is a great place, or even Craigslist has that too. You can go to the community section and find people, churches, pets, dog parks. I meet people at the dog park here, y'all, all the time. And that's something, my dogs love it, that I take them outside and then I can chat with people and make new connections and friendships just there. And I love finding people there. So, and then talking to people. Forum, you can Google it, or ask for Brigidix. I don't want to talk more into Forum, but Forum is a guideline to what to talk to people about, because that can be kind of where people get stuck sometimes. But it stands for family, occupation, recreation, and your message. And then ask questions. People want to be heard and listened to. Okay, not just you talking all the time and not giving them, give them a chance to share about themselves. So whether you're in person or on social media, things you can ask them questions about. And these are I stole these from Shay. Shay sent these to me, Stanford, who is awesome to follow on social media if you don't, but she's here local. I'm on the soccer team with her. But these are questions she broke down into a blog post, asking people where they're from and say, tell me what brought you here from, so what brought you here from Oregon, Jamie? Give an opening for people just to tell their story a little bit. And then listen, pay attention. What activities do you and your kiddos enjoy doing together? Maybe you have some connections. You're looking for people that you connect with, that you relate to, and vice versa. I saw you drive how do you like it? I saw you drive a Prius. Okay, that's what I drive. How do you like it? I get that all the time. Or if they're wearing a certain something, or maybe they have a certain type of phone or clothes or shoes. Okay, and then the holidays are always an easy one to connect with. I always try to start conversations around whatever holiday is most recent, like how was your Halloween? How was your Thanksgiving? What are you guys doing for Christmas this year? Do you have any special plans? Are you ready? I'm not. Have you finished your shopping? Just normal chit chat that you would make with someone in the grocery store line. That's another place to meet people, in the grocery store line. People love, if you make eye contact and smile, they love to comment on all your healthy, clean foods in your grocery basket. And study people, be human. One of my favorite, these are principles from Dale Carnegie, in one of my favorite PD books, is How to Win Friends and Influence People. I wish I'd read this earlier on in my business. I just read it this summer. But it tells you how to really make people feel heard and appreciated and respected, and make really quality friendships. So these are his principles. Don't criticize. So always try to be positive. Okay, you're going to win more friends with honey than vinegar, right? Or you're going to attract more flies with honey than vinegar, that expression. Be lavish with your praise. Don't be false with it or phony, but be authentic. There's always things to praise people. When I was a school counselor, I would counsel teachers on how to check for kids' positive behavior. And even if they couldn't find something, I'd say, well, at least compliment that they're breathing quietly. Always find something to praise. There's always something to praise someone about. Smile. Okay, remember the importance of a name. Using people's names is so powerful. If you remember nothing else from this list, figure out how to remember people's names. I like to visualize myself writing someone's name, or I picture someone else that I know that has the same name, and I like picture them in my mind if I'm trying, or I just say it to myself, use it back, oh, nice to meet you, Jamie. Jamie, where are you from? Oh, Jamie, that's so great. Using that person's name again and again so that it sticks in. Being a good listener, paying attention to what they're saying, reflective listening, talk in terms of the other's interests. If someone's, and that can go with, he talks a lot about emulating body behavior. So if someone's crossing their arms, you can cross their arms. If someone's saying the word awesome a lot, use their language. Say the word awesome a lot. It gives this subconscious connective tool. So these are just tips when you are meeting people in person. Never say you're wrong. Okay, give the other person saying yes, and always be focusing on what you're looking for. Don't be afraid to be looking for the people you would have on your dream team. Okay, it's, I think, about finding those quality friendships that are going to really make this really fun for you. And then one thing too that I didn't put on a slide, but to be really mindful of is know how to breadcrumb stuff back to your business. Like what your little, we call it elevator speech. So if you were on an elevator ride with someone, can you in 60 seconds or less tell them that you're, what you do for work, that you're online health and fitness coach and why you love it? So I would give you that assignment as kind of your call to action, is to find a way to like get that elevator speech memorized and prepared and connected to your heart of like, I'm an online health and fitness coach. I get to work with folks online, run health and fitness accountability challenge groups, and share my love for health, fitness, and yoga using Facebook and Instagram. And I love it because it's given me the freedom to work from home, travel around the world, and make amazing friendships all around while becoming financially independent as well. So figure out what your spiel is. That's your story. Your elevator speech will change over time, but you have one from day one. Even if you started coaching yesterday, why did you start coaching? What inspired you to join, and what are you hoping to gain from it? You can talk in terms of what you're looking forward to, what you're working towards as well. And always be grateful every day. There's going to be always stuff to get better on, always stuff to learn. There's always going to be things that go wrong. You will fail. I fail every day. And I learn from them, and I pick myself up, and I try better next time. And that's just part of fighting your way to success. But focus on the stuff that's fun for me, making friends, finding new connections, helping new people. That Success Club goal every month. Like I set that goal. I am Success Club 10 legend because I set my goal at 20 every month, so that I have to work that much harder. I don't just settle once I've hit my 3. I look for 10 new people a month. And do I always find 10 new people? No. But if I know I'm going to not stop trying until I've hit that goal. And so then the next month I try again. So it keeps me, my challenge groups, fresh and fun and growing, and my team fresh and fun and growing. And at times your team won't need you as much anymore. And that's okay too. But so you always have other people that you're willing to chat with and need your help and guidance and friendship. So I think I went over on time, but sorry about that.
No, this was amazing. Like I'm sitting there looking at things. I'm like, okay, some things I'm doing that. And then other things I'm like, I would have never thought of that. Like, I'm so glad that you got on. Everything that you said is like golden information. And so this is one of those team calls I think I'm going to be sharing the recording with over and over and over again on our team page. So thank you so much, Jamie. Like this is golden information. I appreciate you so much getting on. Thank you.
And I just want to say, like, don't try to do all of this at once. Like, a lot of this is stuff that I've grown into, and don't feel like you have to join 5 teams and like just do what you can. You always want to stay balanced, and like, don't neglect your warm market to start growing a cold one, but just be thinking big picture of ways you can like actually make your life a little easier by, rather than adding new things to your plate, like creating an opportunity to connect your business to it. So, for example, when I'm in the grocery line and someone's like, oh, look at all those healthy foods, you must be a health freak. I'm like, no, I'm just a health and fitness coach. I'm an I always say online health and fitness coach. And I try to lead by example. So, there you go. And then guaranteed they'll say, online health and fitness coach, I need me one of them. And it just breadcrumbs, like leave those little like trailing off and give them the opportunity to be like, that sounds cool. And say, oh, it's so amazing. I get to work with people all over. Anyway, and then you kind of like open the door. So use those opportunities that you're already doing day-to-day life, and just don't be afraid to go for it, because people are excited all the time to hear what you have to say. And I didn't think they would at the beginning, but trust me, they do.
So perfect. Thank you so much, Jamie. I really appreciate you getting on this call. I do see one more question that says, do you have business cards that you give people when you meet them in person?
Okay, so that's a really great question. I used to have business cards, and I still do. I keep them in my purse, but I don't ever give them out, because what I do is when I meet a new connection, like all my new friends that I met at the airport, is I get their information and I stay in control of that conversation. So chances are you give a business card and you're like, is that person ever going to call me? And they probably won't. They might lose it or get stuck in their jeans and they wash it, or they get shy. So what I do is I will open my phone and I say, are you on Facebook? And then I have them type in their name in my phone on their search and find themselves. Or I will type in a note, their name and their email or phone number if they want to give it. If they give me their phone number, I text them immediately and say, hey, this is Jamie. So nice to meet you. Good luck getting to Puerto Vallarta. And then I save that, make a mental note or an actual physical note of who I've connected with and what this person is. So if I write their email in a note on my phone, I'll write like, Stephanie going to Puerto Vallarta delayed in the plane line, things like that. And so then I can then follow up with them and say hi, find them on Facebook, just send them a note just saying like, it was so nice to meet you. I hope you have a great day, or let me know if you'd ever want to join one of my local fit clubs. And I even do grocery walks, sometimes with people through the grocery store, and we like look at what's healthy and what's not, and just offer something of free, even if it's just your friendship.
I love it. Perfect advice. Love it. Thank you so much for getting on this call, and for everybody for tuning in as well. And I will see you guys on the team page. Message me if you guys have any questions on this. And thank you so much, Jamie, for getting on this call. I appreciate you.
You're so welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.